Alright, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going through the IPO giants of 2026. IPO stands for Initial Public Offering. Some of the ones that we're going to be dealing with specifically, let me see if I can... Some of the ones that we're going to be dealing with specifically are going to be SpaceX, OpenAI, Anthropic, however you say it, Databricks, Icon Therapeutics, Anduril, and just a few crypto ones. Initially, first one's going to be SpaceX. It says they have a merger with an AI, so we're going to search it up and see what kind of, according to them, it's speculation, but as of February, they acquired XAI, the artificial intelligence setup for Grok, for X. So they're going to combine the rocket company with AI firm to create a vertically integrated innovation engine focused on orbital data centers, space-based internet. So I think orbital data centers, I guess there should be data centers in space. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Yeah, solar, natural cooling. It's interesting, I haven't heard about that one yet. Interesting, like, theory though. Possible 2026. It is one of the biggest IPOs of all time. 1 to 1.5 trillion if that happens in 2026. Interesting that Starlink would be an IPO and they wouldn't, or maybe I guess they would buy space or add SpaceX onto it after, I guess. But interesting that they would separate those two, considering they're both space-based. Yeah, it's a lot of money going into it, a lot of capital needed for the space internet and data centers. Very interesting. But I guess I don't know. Grok, just a weird one to combine with SpaceX. As far as I guess if they're doing data centers out in space, it makes sense. But it's just odd that you would have a space company partnering with an AI. Okay, next one is going to be OpenAI. OpenAI is, as you know, the founders of ChatGPT, and let's do it in here. That wouldn't be another big one, especially considering the news that OpenAI partnered with the government in order to, let's see, they're agreeing to use AI models in Department of Defense or Department of War, I think, as it's now called. This comes after somebody got rejected. I think it was Claude who rejected the Anthropic. So not Claude. Yeah. So the reason for that being they didn't want it to be mass surveillance and used in autonomous weapons, which, I mean, morally probably right, financially and for a business probably wrong, because it's just going to mean somebody else is going to step up and do it. Especially whenever working with the U.S. government. Yeah, declared Anthropic a supply chain risk after that. So, not a good situation for them. but I believe they will be doing an IPO this year too, allegedly. But ChatGPT had to remove a lot of safeguards in order to do this. As well as, I guess he had some sort of negotiation to reduce what it's used for in all of this. Yeah. Let's see. We'll yeah. So about 100, or not 100, 840 billion is what they're valued at. Considering the biggest IPO in history will be about 1 to 1.5 trillion. It's pretty competitive with some of the biggest companies in the world. Yeah, this one says 1.5 trillion too, which would mean it's on track to compete with SpaceX for IPO. And this one even has it higher, which is kind of crazy. Next one is going to be Anthropic, the one we just talked about that refused to work, or not refused to work with the government, but over-negotiated their stance, or something happened to where they're no longer going to work with the government and not have any of that revenue as well as any of those support or customers from the government, which is kind of a big deal. I assume they'll definitely be doing an IPO this year, just to get some more funding after all this comes out. Let's see, Databricks will have okay, so another big data processing, analytics, and AI. It's team collaboration kind of software. Interesting. I haven't heard much about this one, but they'll be having an IPO this year. Around 134 billion. I'll have to look more into this one because I don't really know too much about it, but obviously a big company and working with a lot of data and pipelines and models from AI. Next up is going to be Icon Therapeutics. Okay, so Icon Therapeutics is a San Francisco-based cancer biotech valued at about $1 billion. So really, comparative to what we've been looking at, not that much. But yeah, working in cancer therapies. Interesting. I'm gonna have to look more into this one too. But obviously, just based off the market and what they're doing, very large potential upside, especially being this early into it, founded in 2019, and got a lot of $381 million based off its IPO in February of 2026. It is currently March 9th of 2026, so about a month ago they IPO'd, which is crazy. So I'm going to look more into that one. Anduril, this is the one y'all probably seen on TikTok and stuff. Basically cheating in war, like wall hacks, making the goggles where you can see behind you, and menu map and through walls, and post just all sorts of stuff. I'm gonna have to do another video on this one because this one by itself is crazy, but just wild company, especially the story of it. I believe he worked for, I want to say, OpenAI at some point. Yeah, okay, it was Meta. That's what it was. He left Meta to work on this. And I knew there was some sort of controversy that happened with it too. But I'm going to have to do a video on that one because this one is actually wild. Just with all the ways they're changing war and seeing through walls and all their technology is ridiculous. Then our next one, let's see. It says this one will be 2027, most likely, but there's still a possibility for 2026. Yeah, a bunch of U.S. defense contracts, a lot of money. Yeah, they're still waiting on a facility to start working, begin production. After that, it'll IPO. It's crazy. It'd be one of the largest defense tech IPOs. Palantir, compared to that. Yeah, I'll be IPOing relatively close to each other, so that'll be good. And then I'm curious about these. Next is going to be Kraken and Consensus. They're in the crypto infrastructure space. There's a lot of regulatory things going on with crypto. I've mentioned it before. There's also just the validity of it. Yes, it's volatile, but it's also solid, and there's a set, there's a price that's not going to go lower than, or like a market amount that it will not go lower than right now. And so it's just validating that you're not going to lose all your money, and there is certain upside to it. Kraken, it's a crypto exchange, derivatives tradings, brokerage, ensuring that they're going into stocks and payments after crypto, going to crypto. Payments is a big one, microtransactions, all that kind of thing. One that people have been trying to master for a while because it's hard to do it and make money off of it with such a small amount and such a new concept of money. But yeah. Consensus. I have to look into what these are. because I've never heard of them. Okay. So it supports the Ethereum chain coins and all that kind of stuff, which is a lot of coins. It's kind of crazy. Interesting that it would be a high, like 7 billion compared to your Anduril, which was like 1.5 billion, and it was the highest defensive tech IPO. Yeah. Ethereum ecosystem growth, public markets. Yeah, so it's kind of support thing from what I'm seeing. There's some more y'all can look into. Yeah, so it's a support more than anything. Alright, this was IPO giants coming in 2026. According to a lot of estimates, we're going to have a huge wave of IPOs coming in the near future being 1 to 2 years. And that is something, this new wave of them coming is, or will be the most amount of money in IPOs in a long time. I'm curious to see what in 2021 it was 594 billion. Yeah. So if 594 billion is the most, and you have a company going for 1.5 trillion, which I don't know how much money they would raise, 25 to 30 billion. It will be quite interesting to see how much they raise, as well as just how much they'll raise. But this was the IPO Giants of 2026. Thank you for watching.